What's up? Welcome back, everyone. This is the TNA Heelcast. I'm your host, assist with the most assists this week, the RAV Raven Effect. Join me this week, my main man, Chef. What's up, man?
Nothing, man. Chilling, getting blocked by half of the TNA staff, so it's all good. Let's do this heel thing.
It's a very healers thing to do to get blocked by half of the TNA roster staff, whatever you want to call it, but represent TNA Mafia Heel Team 6. We got Chef with us. We were supposed to have Hurls. We don't know what happened to Hurls. Maybe Hurls is alive somewhere. Maybe he got teleported out. I don't know. But just me and Chef this week. So, Chef, let's go ahead and dive right into it. So let's cover the news here before we get into Impact. I guess we'll call this one Braxton's Bachelor Party or whatever, February 16, 2017. So, Chef, I'm going to go close to home with you here. So, from the sounds of it, it seems as if Impact's kind of taping in Orlando at the Impact Zone March through August, and then it kind of seems like they're going to be hitting the road. Chef, we all know you're always there. What are your thoughts on this one? And also, I mean, let's just add this in here, too. As you were telling me, you think it sounds like they're going to go on the UK tour in June. Is that correct?
Absolutely. That's exactly what it sounds like. I think, hold on. Oh, wow. This is crazy. It's like one of the...
Only on the Heelcast.
Great. Only on the Heelcast where you see people thugging out like in the middle of the night.
Are they just throwing down in your block there?
Yeah, I live in the nicest neighborhood ever. Like, they just started really wilding right now. So anyways, back to what we were saying. I think they're going to have the UK tour coming up. I know March, we all know, is in Orlando. We know August is in Orlando. But in between that, hopefully we get the indie scene going. Hopefully we get the UK tour going. Hopefully the police don't come over here and think I'm the one who did something crazy.
I just want to wrap the headset up so I don't have to listen to it.
I want to roll solo today eventually. Chef, get arrested and questioned by the police.
I'm back in the hood again.
We can't edit that shit out. That's got to go in there.
This is crazy. I feel like I'm back in Queens again.
Monday night, but we're the real raw here. It's I worry that if they do go on the road, I mean, obviously the UK tour, they're going to do well. They always do well. It's their best crowd they get all year, no offense. But I worry what the crowds may be like if they do tour. I hope things change. Maybe we're going to see a spark. Maybe people are going to realize Dixie's gone, Jarrett's back, and people will start touring again. Come to Oregon, TNA, because the one time you came here, I missed you. The second time, I bought front row tickets and had the meet and greet and all that to go see them at Matt Knight Arena here in Eugene, Oregon, and they canceled on me. Haven't came close since. Obviously, we know the money issues, but it's good to see TNA hitting the road at least. I hope it doesn't end up being a big failure, but it's definitely good to see some progress going and actually have someone with some brains in charge of the company again. Anything you wanted to add in that one, Chef?
Nah, I mean, I agree. If they could really fill seats, I mean, going on the road, that's the key to success because, I mean, look, I'm an Impact Zone guy. I love the Impact Zone guy. I'm extremely selfish. I don't want them to leave. But if I want the company to grow, they got to hit the road. And if you can put asses in seats, man, all I want is 2-3 tapings a year, and you can go wherever the fuck else you want in the world.
Shit, I just want one. So, fuck, just one. We talk about people with brains actually being in charge of the company now. So, look, there was I believe it was Newsweek. Let's see. Yeah, Newsweek magazine. They had a interview with Jeff Jarrett and Ed Nordholm. Quite a bit of things. I mean, they called TNA last year a black guy in the industry for all the stuff that was going on. They brought up Dixie Carter. And, they said that it was a really ugly, unfortunate situation, that it wasn't good for the industry. So this is a direct quote here. So the buck has to stop someplace, says Ed Nordholm. The reality is the company got into a dire position and she was CEO. There was never any question she wouldn't be involved in the day-to-day operations, but not out of any particular animosity. If we were going to invest, we're owner-operators. We're not passive investors. If we're going to own it, we're going to own it. Nordholm denies that Carter's new position is a token role. He says it's consultative. She's a resource to us. She has useful perspective and relationships, so we'll try to keep those. Basically, Dixie, I know Chef's got love for you. You did kind of keep the company afloat for a long time, but you really ran into the shit. I'm just so fucking glad she's gone. Chef, any thoughts on this one?
No, I mean, like I said, I like the fact that, they're definitely doing what they got to do, and they're taking this shit very serious. It's kind of the scary thing of, are they going to be just some people who pump a little money and then all of a sudden the company dies? Like, they got a direction. They're going in it. Keeping her in the back, I mean, it's still cool. She had the job with, obviously a company she cares for. So, look, as long as they keep doing the right thing and going all the way up, let her sit in the back and whatever good relationship she has, keep them and keep moving forward.
Yeah, I agree. Look, everyone was kind of nervous. I mean, what's Anthem's money like? What are they planning to do? Is it just going to be kind of the same shit as Dixie and Geburik going to be in charge? It's not been the case. We got Double J back, Scott D'Amore back, Dutch back. I mean, we got a lot of good stuff going on for TNA, and it's good to see that someone with a vision is taking care of it, and they're trying to do the right things. There was rumors last week that they really weren't trying to make any big signings or really bring anyone in, but the news is out now. I'm happy about this one a lot. So Magnus. They are trying to bring Magnus back to TNA. Contracts are in the work. I didn't think Magnus would ever come back as long as Geburik was there. But definitely, I'm not going to be shocked if Magnus shows up here in 2 weeks. Chef, your thoughts on Magnus potentially coming back to TNA?
I like Magnus. I think he's an extremely talented guy. I think he's at most like 30. You know what I mean? This is a guy that he could talk on a mic. He's good in the ring. I mean, as for the Geburik thing, I mean, Jeff Jarrett's there, so that's his man. So, fuck Geburik too. You know what I mean? Like, as long as Jarrett's there, Jarrett got his back, and it's a whole new impact. It's not the same shit where he left. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a whole new thing. He has people he could trust there. I'm sure, he'll meet with Ed Nordum and they'll, hash out a direction where they want him to go. So I like the Magnus thing. And I think that, we could use another guy like Magnus. I'm just hoping that if Magnus comes in, we still have Drew Galloway, because, I mean, you're not just going to throw chump change at Magnus because he is a fucking, he's a talented dude.
Yeah, I think Magnus is really talented, man. And I know a lot of people kind of shit on Magnus because of his world title reign. I just, for the 500th time, the people shitting on Magnus and saying his world title reign was a disaster. Do you really think that's Magnus's fault? Fuck no, it was Geburik's fault. It was poor booking. It was the fact that they took their champion, made him look like, they made him look like the biggest pussy in the company. The guy couldn't win without cheating. Everything was bad. They had just a random mid-Carter and EY come in, pile drive him, take the belt. It really the worst wrestling product I've ever seen. Like Vince Russo in the dying days of WCW, I think, put out a better product than what Geburik put on in TNA in 2014. Yeah, from what I heard, Magnus is only 30. Let's hold up for a sec here. Woo, Chef, you got the best seat in the house, man.
Yo, dude, literally, I'm just chilling out. Yo, and it's fucking crazy because I have cops who patrol my neighborhood, and now I see their lights. At least they're not near me because, last thing I want is what the fuck are you doing? Like I said, I'm usually out here in a hoodie, so, I definitely don't want to just, be some random dude, but, I don't give a fuck. The only thing I'm going to say with that, it's not a certain wrestler's fault to having a certain bad run. I mean, I wasn't a fan of Eddie Edwards' run. Is he talented? Yeah, he's fucking talented, but you kind of look at it a certain way where you're like, damn, his run kind of made it look weak. Eric Young's run, and I love Eric Young to death. Eric Young's run as a champ was whack. I'm a big James Storm guy. His title run was at best, and I love James Storm. Bad booking can really fucking hurt somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. Dude, and it has. And it hasn't just been only in TNA. I mean, WWE's done it a ton of times throughout history. WCW did it. I don't want to say ECW ever did, but I'm sure there's probably one or two. I mean, shit, they put their belt on Mikey Whipwreck for crying out loud. Magnus, good-looking guy, 30 years old, very charismatic. The dude could cut promos. And this is the way I look at it. When he dropped his title reign in 2014, that dude was left for dead. They had, nothing for him. He was wrestling matches on fucking Explosion. his feud with Bram last year, not last year, but 2015. I think that was one of the best feuds that year, and that elevated Magnus back. And then when him and Storm, literally, we all know about pushing Mickey to the train tracks and all the bullshit that went in. That elevated Magnus back, in my opinion. I think Magnus from him to go from like the very bottom of the company to like being a top high profile feud with James Storm, and that match at Slammiversary 2015, that was the match of the year in TNA for that, in my opinion. Like that match was fucking brutal. It was badass. Him and Storm turned it down. It's the dude made a lot of strides, and for him to leave, it just sucked. And I'm surprised that really he hasn't went too far. I mean, we know he's a GFW world champion. Nick Aldis is. I'm how about Magnus in the DCC? Let's get him and Bram back as a tag team. Let Kingston maybe do something different. Obviously him and Storm, they do the conflict, but it's fucking pro wrestling. That shit gets thrown away. What would you think about Bram and Magnus back together? I know you're a Bram guy.
Oh man, that would be fucking awesome. I mean, like, honestly, I kind of dug the whole Bram when he came in and he was calling him soft, like, and I was like, damn, that's fucked up. Like Magnus is, he's got a big name, and this dude just comes in and calling him soft. And I mean, to put those two guys together again, I mean, those were some intense dudes, especially when they were feuding with Willow and fucking Abyss. Like, you kind of seen Magnus as that tough guy, and you're like, oh, this is dope as fuck. You put him with the DCC, yo, I'm all with it.
Yeah, dude, I loved that too. And Bram was calling him soft, and you kind of thought like you get Bram to really bring out the badass and Magnus back. It didn't really happen until they split them up, even though they really had no success as a tag team, which made no sense because they had no competition, and those two were like just fucking screaming, "Let's do this feud." But there's a lot of possibilities to go with Magnus. Dude left as a over baby face. I'd like to see him come back as a heel. Him and Douglas Williams were awesome. There's a lot to do with Magnus, and dude, at 30 years old for pro wrestling, I mean, shit, that's like rookie in the NFL almost. Any last thoughts on that one, Chef, before we move on?
Nah, I'm just all with it. I agree. Just Magnus, come home, baby.
Definitely. Now, so I didn't realize the magnitude of this when we kind of talked about it last week, but this JB versus Josh Matthews thing, I think it might be an angle. It got a little more heated than what we had kind of heard as FK9. I was just hearing about it at the time, but they got into it. Josh Matthews said he was the best announcer. JB kind of criticized it, told him to go fly the drone. The thing that, and look, if this wasn't an angle, he went way too far, in my opinion, where he said, because Josh Matthews said, JB, you'll get your chance when WWE, TNA, ROH, New Japan, Lucha Underground fires all their announcers, and you're the only one left, kind of, which I thought went too far if it wasn't an angle. Dude, Jeremy Borash is so much fucking better than Josh Matthews. And I actually said this on the show that Madison Rayne was better. Apparently JB said it too. Chef, what were your thoughts on this now that we kind of get the broader picture? You have any things you want to add on to it that we didn't maybe bring up last week?
Like, I get the whole fact that, wrestling is storyline and there's angles and all that shit. But on some real shit, like if I consider somebody really cool with me or they done whatever and I respect them, there's no way that I would shit on them that hard. Like, I call you an asshole or whatever, but I'm not going to diss your whole, like, you ain't shit. And when there ain't nothing left, like, since there's nothing left, that's the only way you can get put on. Like, to me, that's just some real dirtbag shit. You don't do that shit. So, whatever. And you know what? I find it funny that my man Shark Boy is still talking shit. So let's go, Sharky. Keep ripping this dude apart.
Yeah, dude, Shark Boy is awesome, man. Look, fuck it. I don't give a fuck if it's an angle or if it's not. Josh Matthews, you are fucking terrible. And Jeremy Borash is so much better. And Jeremy Borash and Don West, or Jeremy Borash and Mike Tenay, or Jeremy Borash and Pope should be the ones commentating, not Josh Matthews. Josh Matthews has a job because TNA's had a hard-on for the WWE since they started, and he used to fucking work there. Lord knows UFC has one for Todd Grisham, and my God, that guy just stunk the place up last night. But moving on, Josh Matthews, you're a Michael Cole clone. Michael Cole is the worst fucking announcer I have heard other than you. You want to know how you suck, Josh Matthews? Is because Josh Barnett came out and literally there was no like, I have never heard something undersold so much other than maybe when there's a title change in TNA. It was literally, oh, here's Josh Barnett. Really? I'm glad you care, Josh Matthews, and I'm glad everyone else should care. Literally, it was the worst job. If Don West would have been in there, Don West would have sold that like, hey, there's a former UFC heavyweight champion that's coming in, that this is a big deal. This guy used to be a pro wrestler in New Japan. He does commentary for New Japan with Jim Ross. Here's this big deal walking in that's going to challenge your world champion. It was just like, I watched this and I just think, why in the hell does this guy have his job? Literally, he can't make anything seem important. If it's just, Josh Matthews, you suck. Please don't ever wear Oregon Ducks gear again. Maybe you're the reason our football team sucks. Fuck you, Josh Matthews.
I got nothing to follow that up. Enough said.
God, fuck you, Josh Matthews. You suck. And you got Charlie, dude. Somehow this dude pulled Charlie Haas's wife and Madison Rain. I don't get it, but douchebags get girls sometimes. Let's move on to Impact, and speaking of douchebags getting girls, so let's just start this out. This was the Bachelor and Bachelorette parties, and we'll just kind of get this stuff out of the way. What did you think of Mike Bennett's bachelor party for Braxton Sutter? I assume this wasn't something that you actually saw happening in the Impact Zone, right?
Nah, definitely not. But I know somebody personally that was involved in that's on TV, so I'm a fan of what happened because I'm surprised it went as far as it did.
Yeah, like at first I was kind of disappointed. Like I didn't think it was that good. And I mean, for ROH fans, I mean, when Mike and Maria actually were getting married, I mean, they had like this bit. They made Mike Bennett's bachelor party a big, and so it was kind of underwhelming. What did start to get me cracking up, because I was really kind of down on it at first, but when the dude pulls out the fucking DVD, and then Mike Bennett's like, no, I got a stripper, and then like you can see the bitch, and then when she talks, it's a look on the Miracle's face, and he's like, okay, let's just go with the DVD, and then when you see the girl, and you see her passed out next to one of the dudes, and I really don't get the thing Braxton was doing, like apparently taking a photo to send to Maria or whatever. Like, okay, but it was just kind of funny. I was thinking like when Braxton started cracking up and he sees Bennett passed out, I was thinking like he's gonna take a Sharpie and draw some dicks on Bennett's face or something funny like that. But it didn't turn out that way. But it kind of saved it. I think those two scenes kind of made it funnier in the end. Anything else you wanted to chime in there?
Nah, I enjoyed. I mean, the guy Pee Wee, they overdid him getting drunk. Like I said, I know someone who was involved in this. So and I asked if I could bring it up, and the person was like, and I can't even say if it's male or female, but the person was like, I don't know. So I was like, damn, I really wanted to bring something up while we did this, but I don't want to get nobody in trouble or whatever. But big fan of it. Congratulations, and hopefully you're on TV more often.
I hope it was not. I hope it wasn't the female, because I may have just insulted your homegirl if that was the case. But speaking of, we'll move on to the other females. So there was the bachelorette party for Laura Van Ness, which I kind of think really didn't turn out as good. Just kind of ended up with them kind of bashing Allie. Honestly, I didn't pay them most attention. Didn't they hit her in the face with some pink cake or something like that? Or am I just kind of imagining that?
Nah, you know what? Honestly, I don't remember that part too much, and it was only the other day I watched it, but I think you're right.
Yeah, it just it kind of fell flat. Not much happened there. So, I mean, what was it? Maybe Allie could have got that. What was it? Slick Johnson? No, that was a referee, but it was like Big Dick Johnson or something like that. The greased up fat dude that was on WWE, and then he came on to TNA, and like Voodoo Kin Mafia used him. And he had that angle with Christy Hemme and all that. Like, maybe they could have brought that dude back, but
that would have been some real savage shit. That guy, like, I don't even know how you make it in the industry. Like, damn.
Right? Like, that dude makes it, but there we go. So we'll move on to the actual show. So Moose and Mini Moose, Brandy, they open up with a win over Crazy Steve and Rosemary. I know you kind of been feeling like Crazy Steve's been a little bit of an MVP. I'll let you go ahead and give your thoughts on this one.
All right, this one actually kind of, I felt a little taken back by it, because I was like, wow, like you got Moose who's competing for the Impact Grand Championship back and forth with Galloway and whoever else. And then you got Crazy Steve, to me, who should be an X Division champion, whatever. But to make him look as strong as he did versus someone as big as Moose, I was like, wow, they're really pushing Steve. Like, but then you made Rosemary kind of look kind of weak. So I was like, to me, it made no sense. I love Brandy. I'm a big Brandy guy. I think, she's an awesome personality. But I really wanted to see the Decay come over on this because, like I said, with what's been going on with the tag team division, not granted, Rosemary's not in the tag team division, but she is the face of the Decay. They've been making the Decay look strong, weak. It's not consistent. So Moose and Brandy winning, if that leaves this little situation over and we don't see Brandy, go for a knockout title because she still, to me, doesn't deserve it yet. I'm all for this win. Hopefully this doesn't fast track her to, since I clotheslined you when we won, I should be, the knockout champion. As long as that shit don't happen, I got no real beef with them, beating the Decay.
Yeah, I didn't really see a scenario where Steve and Rosemary were going to win because Moose was involved. I mean, I guess I'm glad Brandy didn't get the pin on Rosemary or anything like that. I mean, it's just if we were to put Steve up there against Moose, there's just, there's no way Steve could take Moose. Crazy Steve definitely improving. And like I say multiple times, anyone that listened to our interview with the Decay, Crazy Steve is a star. The dude needs to talk. If he could do what he did on our show, if he could translate that to TV, I think Crazy Steve would be a star. We'll see where it goes from here. I think there's still unfinished business with Rose and Brandy that they're going to go forward with. I don't know if we're going to see maybe Moose and Cody against Decay in a feud or whatnot, but we got a future coming up. I did see that Cody was advertised to return next week, so that's big. Cody Rhodes will be back on TNA. Sorry, just Cody, and Brandy Rhodes will be on Impact next Thursday, so definitely something to look forward to there. One I know you're not probably the most thrilled about, so Jesse Goddard's looked like $1 million defeating Eddie Kingston of the DCC was next. Your thoughts on this one, Chef?
You know what? I was actually torn because, I'm pretty cool with Jesse Goddard. He's an awesome guy. So, but I'm a big DCC guy, so I was like, damn. But to me, like I just finished saying about the Decay, you only got 2 tag teams besides the tag team champs, and if you got the DCC losing as well, I mean, you have Decay and DCC losing in the same night. So it's like the 2 left tag teams. What do you got left? Now, I love Jesse Goddard. I mean, he's another guy who has improved to, ridiculous levels in my mind. So I could see him beating a guy like Kingston, even though I really like Kingston and he's new and I get what's going on. But it just seems like the vision of the tag team division, there is no vision. It's just, fuck it. Let's just throw whoever wins, loses. There's no, repercussion for whatever because we don't know what we're doing. And no one's going to give a shit because as long as the Hardys are tag team champs, it doesn't fucking matter. Okay, fine, but after this Expedition of Gold shit is over, or whenever it's over, they still got to defend it, here. You know what I mean? You eventually got to have a tag team, and try. Let's do the right thing of build a tag team up. Not just we just signed 2 guys. Okay, you can fight for the belts, and if the Hardys win, okay, they're still the greatest of all time. And if these guys win, okay, you just came in, you get a belt. That shit is bullshit. So God is beating him. In the long view, I was like, wow, it just kind of made DCC look weak. But if you're going to push Goddard's, fine, push them. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what they're doing with the tag team group people, so whatever.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you kind of think maybe this wasn't the right match to book because I have no problem with Jesse Goddard's getting a push. I think Jesse Goddard's has improved in the ring leaps and bounds, just leaps and bounds. And Jesse Goddard's, I mean, look, this is another dude who's on CBS. He's obviously a fucking great looking guy. He's got an amazing fucking build physique to him. I mean, kind of Lex Luger-ish. So I mean, and the dude is a star. He deserves his push. But then on the other hand, I mean, what the fuck are you doing with the DCC? I mean, the DCC's badass. Kingston, Bram, James fucking Storm, for God's sakes. They've not done much with them. They've just really made the DCC look bad and look weak. And look, Jesse Goddard he was one of the fucking bromans. I mean, he's not completely distanced himself out of that. And it's like, okay, so one of the bromans is beating up one of these outlaw, guys that have came into TNA, and it's hard. It just give Jesse Goddard a different opponent to go over on. I mean, there's other guys out there. Let him kick Robbie E's ass. Turn Robbie E fucking heel for all we care. No one likes him anyways. It's just, I mean, it's just, and you are right. I mean, these tag teams, I mean, DCC hasn't really done a whole lot. Eli Drake and Tyrus, they're broken up now. The Wolves are split up. I mean, there's literally the Hardys and two other guys. When are you going to build tag teams? When are you going to make your tag teams look somewhat decent? So maybe we'll see Kingston and Storm, because Lord knows Storm just needs to win a tag team championship with everyone they ever put him with, and Bram and Magnus at some point. But like, something's got to change in this tag team division, and you're making the DCC look super weak. It's good to see Goddard get a push. I think the guy deserves it, and maybe the guy could, be some sort of a star, maybe like a grand champion at some point. But it's just, man, what are you doing to these guys? The DCC has just been booked so poorly. And I mean, Chef, we talk about tag teams and all that, and so let's just go into it. So the Hardys, they advertised the Hardys taking on Super Crazy and Psychosis, and we really didn't get much more than a couple highlights. I can't even remember the name of the company, but the Hardys defeated Super Crazy and Psychosis. Psychosis. There's two different ways of pronouncing it. I know that. So they won their tag team championship. We get Conan back on TNA television, which is fucking crazy. What were just your thoughts on this one? I was disappointed we didn't actually get to see the match.
I mean, there was a few things that I didn't like. I didn't like the fact that Impact didn't use their head enough to figure out that the referee would have to get blurred out. Like, that kind of annoyed me. I love Conan. I liked him since NWO, so having him back on TV was awesome. It was hilarious. He's telling them to fucking, bootleg the Hardy tapes and get that shit out there as soon as possible. You had Vanguard 1 with all the hot chicks, the Tijuana ladies. It was a good look. I mean, but the way they hyped this was like we were going to see the entire match, and we seen little clips of little highlight moves here, little highlight moves there. Like, I was kind of hoping to see an entire match, like, just the way they hyped it, hopefully with the MCW and, wherever else they're winning gold. Hopefully we see longer matches, because if you're going to hype them on this expedition of gold, I mean, let's let it rock. And then, because that takes up TV time too. You'll have less promos, or, just less random shit. You'll have fuller matches.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the Tijuana thing was funny, or the Tijuana girls coming in and Vanguard 1 being all excited. Conan, I have mixed feelings. I mean, yeah, dude, I was a big Conan fan too with the NWO. I love that Wolfpack too. Tossing my salad, peeling my potatoes. Dude, Conan, when he was with LAX, man, LAX was one of the dopest fucking tag teams out there. And they were over as fuck. And, Conan was a voice of them, and he got Homicide and Hernandez over. And a lot of people hate on Hernandez. I think I'm like the only Hernandez fan in the world. But, I mean, dude, LAX was awesome when Conan was a voice. But I've grown sour on Conan because he's just been so anti-TNA for so long. He's been, one of the biggest anti-TNA people out there. So it was kind of bittersweet, to see the bridges burn with Dixie gone, and Conan was cool and like showed his face on there. But at the same time, it's kind of like, fuck Conan for all the stuff he's talked. But then, on the other side, it's like all the stuff that we've heard. I mean, like maybe I don't fault the guy, but it was weird to see him out there, regardless. What I was disappointed in, dude, I love Psychosis. I loved him in ECW, loved him in WCW. I was never that big of a fan of the Insane Luchador, Super Crazy, but the dude was talented. I was excited to see those guys wrestle again, and it was highlights, and that was disappointing. It really was. And they're transporting to wrestle some hillbilly-looking guys next week. And Chef, I know Matt Hardy is definitely not your BFF, not your boy at all, but I mean, Matt Hardy kind of gave a shout out to my penis when he mentioned the decrepit erection on TV. FK9 may have some copyright infringements because he was the first one to kind of dub me getting a hard on as a decrepit erection. But It's a Heelcast first. I don't. You caught that too, didn't you?
Oh man, when I seen it, I was like, "Oh shit, they stole his shit!" You know, I got all marked out about it. I was like, "Yo, look what happened!" And you guys have said, "Well, maybe so. Maybe FK took it from him, but I don't know. Since that's not my man's, and I don't cheer for him, I'm gonna say he stole FK9 shit."
I mean, yeah, like I don't know if FK9 had heard that be said on TNA prior. I kind of think when we were doing the Slammiversary show, FK9 just kind of randomly brought that up. And I think ever since FK9 said that when we did our Slammiversary preview, we've literally brought this up on the show and made sure the decrepit erection was mentioned in every episode. But it's like I had to back it up and rewind and think, like, did Matt Hardy really just say decrepit erection on TV? So it was a Heelcast victory one way or another. Good job, FK9, or possibly good job, Matt Hardy. But either way, someone's tricked here. Brother Moore and Brother Nero, though, chef's homeboys. We'll just leave it at that. Now, my girl Brooke, she got a victory over Sienna with a roll-up. Probably kind of fucked up Laurel's bachelorette party. What did you think of the match, Chef?
I thought it was all right. I mean, like I said, I still see people's kind of harsh on Brooke. Like, oh, I don't see her rusty at all. I mean, this is a former knockout champion. I like Brooke. She stepped her shit up from being just some random chick to actually being a fucking top tier chick. So, I mean, look, it's a big win. Unfortunately, I'm not a big fan of watching Sienna lose because I kind of liked her run because it was a whole lot better than what they did with Jade. And I love Jade, but Sienna, she's a bad chick, and there's not too many people on that roster, minus Rosemary, that I could see, beating her like that. You know what I mean? Like, and then I don't know. I didn't see Brooke as the kind of chick that should have just came back in and beat her. I don't know. I think she should have lost another one, and then I don't mind a roll up, but damn, it's Sienna. She was built as the enforcer. She's like the female Bobby Lashley of fucking the knockouts.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, look, I'll say this: Brooke and probably Lacey Von Erich. I think probably the two hottest girls I've ever seen in TNA. So like, I love Brooke. I love looking at Brooke more than anything. But like, I've always been a big fan of Brooke Tessmacher. I prefer Tessmacher, not just Brooke. But dude, I'm with you, man. Like, I loved Sienna's title reign. I thought Sienna was awesome. I love the way they built up Sienna. And she's not a girl that they should drop the ball with. I think that the right person is the Knockouts champion right now, and they need to keep her in that title reign for a while. But Sienna's awesome, and they built her up so well. And I hate to see the fall. And I'm with you. Like, I don't like to see her eat too many pins. I don't like to see her job. Granted, it wasn't the cleanest thing. It was a roll up. It didn't make her look awful, but like, Sienna should just be going out there destroying girls. I mean, look, maybe Brooke should have gotten a victory over someone like Laura Van Ness instead. Because I like Laura. I think she's a good looking girl. She's got some character going with her, and that's good. But I mean, dude, like, Sienna is the badass enforcer, like you said. So it is what it is. Obviously, they don't have a huge talent pool that they can just pull a lot of random people out. I mean, maybe a Marty Bell would have been sufficient here for Brooke to just kind of go over. Since Marty's no longer there, they didn't have a lot to do with her. I mean, there's people that you keep in the company for reasons to, so some other people can stay strong, but that's kind of a lost art. But you got anything else you want to say or add in there?
Nah, I think we're good with it.
All right. So we had the Facts of Life, and it wasn't hosted by Eli Drake. It was Tyrus. So Tyrus ends up setting up a match with him and Eli next week. I mean, Eli had said something along the lines of like, Tyrus is out there to watch main event matches while Eli Drake is in them. Tyrus versus Eli Drake. So that team pairing apparently is split up now. And we have the match of the century to go along with the wedding of the century next week. Your thoughts on Tyrus, Eli, the segment and match next week? Anything?
I mean, I'm going to be honest. There's a few times that Tyrus has said things, and I found it kind of funny. And I'm like, all right, this guy's all right. But you're literally having this guy talk for like one of the only wrestlers in the whole roster that fans want to hear talk. It's like he let him talk for anyone else, and you wouldn't hear nobody say shit. But you literally got him talking for the one guy that everybody wants to hear. So now no one's going to give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like, and like I said, Tyrus, He said some funny shit. I mean, I've been there where he's goofed on, people in the crowd, and it's been funny. But I mean, fuck, it's Eli Drake. That's what most people don't even give a fuck what he does in the ring. Everybody just wants to hear him grab a microphone and just cut a promo.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, look, you're right. I mean, Eli's one of the guys that should be talking the most. Eli Drake, EC3, those kind of guys, Mike Bennett. Those are ones that you take the mic and you just let them do what they want to do because, they can't really be touched or fucked with. Tyrus, on the other hand, I mean, you're right, dude. Like, sometimes he can come out with something decent and, sometimes he can get over as a talker. But, I mean, and he seems like he's a good dude. Like, it kind of sucks. He just sucks in the ring. He's slow. He's boring. Like, he's looked like shit in the WWE. He's looked like shit in TNA. I mean, what are we going to get with this guy? There's nothing that's really going to push him or get him over. And truthfully, I mean, him in a feud with Eli Drake, you're wasting Eli Drake's talent because there's so much other people that Eli Drake could be paired up and feuding with. It's kind of a shame. I'm not excited about this match next week. I was happy to see like the real set for the Facts of Life come back. I don't know if that was the first time or not. But it's just, and I mean, Tyrus introducing Eli Drake, that was kind of good, that we kind of knocked him and stuff when he came out. But I mean, I just don't put Tyrus over Eli Drake next week, TNA. Please tell me that you're going to do the right thing and that we're not losing Eli Drake too, because there's rumors WWE's interested in that guy, and I don't see the push going for Eli Drake the way that it should be. Anything else you want to add before we move on to the next?
Yeah, the only thing I'm gonna say is if you read anything WWE wants anybody with any kind of name. I honestly don't pay attention to that shit no more because it's like any top guy in any fucking company, you'll always see people, WWE's going to sign this guy. Well, fuck. Like, if they do actually sign all these fucking guys, why the fuck would anybody want to go there? Because you're not going to get no fucking push. You know what I mean? Like, all right, just say if they got like a guy like Kenny Omega, and then all of a sudden they sign Eli Drake, who the fuck do you think they're going to give the push to? They're going to give it to Kenny Omega. You shit with Eli Drake, will stick him in NXT. You know what I mean? That's why I'm like, if these guys are going to, chase the money that WWE is going to send, even though I think they could probably make more money doing the indie scene and TNA and their own pro wrestling tees and whatever else, I don't know. Whatever. Fuck WWE, a bunch of bitches anyway.
I agree. And the thing too with Eli Drake is WWE has their own shitty, terrible promo writers, and Sean Ricker, Eli Drake washed out there before because they didn't let him go be Eli Drake. They just write shitty promos for him, make him go out there and deliver. It's the same bullshit, and I don't see why Galloway would want to go back. I don't see why Eli Drake, Sean Ricker would want to go back to that stuff. I don't get it. There's the money, there's the potential for fame, but I mean, what are they going to do with these guys? The same shit they did last time. They buried Drew Galloway. I mean, why does Galloway want to go back to there when, like, he's got dude, it was you that even showed me, like, Galloway's got multiple titles in other companies, the Impact Grand Champion, he's been world champion in TNA, he's putting on the best matches in the company. I mean, why would he want to leave that to go back to some place that just buried the guy? And I guess it's the bottom line is the green, but I don't get it. Fuck WWE. For fuck's sake, they're putting their biggest star, John Cena, and his wife against The Miz and his wife. Okay, this is for WrestleMania, dude. Like, for one, we already watched the shittiest WrestleMania main event with John Cena and The Miz 6 years ago, so let's do that again. And we have Brock Lesnar and Goldberg, who stunk the joint up 13 fucking years ago. 13, dude. 13 years ago. And people are like, oh yeah, I can't wait to watch this shithole again. Like, fuck that. I don't get the TNA hate. I need to stop going on a rant and dwelling on it. It's just a company, man. It's the dumbest shit out there. Eat that shit up. So something that wasn't ate up that probably should have been. So Josh Barnett debuted. Lashley cuts a promo, kind of calls out anyone. Josh Barnett, former UFC heavyweight champion, New Japan pro wrestler, does commentary for New Japan with Jim Ross. He's actually a charismatic guy. You wouldn't have known it from this in-ring promo. And Josh Matthews wouldn't have made you feel like Josh Barnett is anyone other than maybe Chef or someone hopping the rails and getting in Bobby Lashley's face from the crowd because Josh Matthews couldn't sell shit, and it was terrible. Chef, what were your thoughts on this one? We got a match next week between Barnett and Lashley, correct, for the world title?
I believe so. Honestly, I know I like MMA, so I know who Josh Barnett is, and I don't want to sound like the straight up dick and call it wrong, but I think he's like the youngest UFC champion ever. He's just that's a bad motherfucker, you know what I mean? And he looks I was joking with my wife. I was like, "Yo, tell me this guy don't kind of look like a throwback fucking Dolph Lundgren." You know, like I would love for the guy to come out with a fucking chain, fucking full of like ears and shit like that. But he's just a bad dude. You know, Lashley's a bad motherfucker. Hopefully, these guys put on some dope ass shit. Like I said, it was definitely undersold. You know, you kind of like for people that obviously are watching at home, you're like, damn, like why the fuck? Like, and that's the thing. You know, commentary, you're supposed to talk and have people feel like, man, I should invest, you know, my time in this person. Let me go look at who this person is. You know, sell the motherfucker. Make it feel like, holy shit, like this is a bad motherfucker. Thank God he's here. You know, now someone's going to take down Lashley. That wasn't the case. You know, it was kind of like, okay, so this guy's going to come in and, all right, he'll just get his ass kicked. And who's next for Lashley? You know, you didn't feel like you needed to be, oh my God, like there's a chance, you know, but there was nothing, you know, once again, a certain somebody who's probably going to block me because I have a new Twitter now, you know, so I'm not going to say nothing until, you know, I probably see him say something and I'll get blocked in a few minutes once I get out of here. But, you know, fuck you for fucking this one up too.
I agree. Look, so I'm not sure if Josh Barnett was the youngest heavyweight champion in history. You know, when Josh Barnett won the UFC heavyweight championship, I mean, it was the start. You know, UFC, not the start, but I mean, it was years ago before they really started to get big and become the big thing that they are right now. You know, and then he went and wrestled New Japan until Pride fighting started to get big. And, you know, Pride, he was successful there. Look, the thing, and I actually think it was Lashley that said, you know, I saw your last fight against Arlovsky. That wasn't his last fight. That was his last victory. His last fight, he actually got submitted for the first time by Big Ben Rothwell. But look, Josh Barnett, it's a good thing because the dude knows how to wrestle. He does have legitimacy. The fact is, we're never going to see Josh Barnett compete for a heavyweight championship in the UFC again because he's not a spring chicken anymore. You know, his better days in the octagon are behind him. Pro wrestling may be his best thing now. The dude is charismatic. He's actually a pretty funny guy. He does commentary with JR for New Japan for the American feed that they do on Access TV or whatever. He knows. I mean, the guy can wrestle for sure. So it's not a complete disaster that they brought him in. He's a bigger name than a lot of stuff that's out there, and it's so frustrating to see him come out and just Josh Matthews, just like Chef said, dude, you're a commentator. It's your job to sell this, to make this seem big. You would literally just not fucking think anyone walked out. You would literally think like Swoggle or someone that has no shot walked out, and Josh Matthews undersold the shit out of this, man. And it's just, it's the thing, like Don West would make you feel like it's important, you know, the crowd, you know, shit, for heaven's sakes, the crowd in the fucking Impact tapings and the Impact Zone, not even a lot of them watch wrestling, for fuck's sake, from the sounds of it. So I'm sure a lot of them didn't realize who Josh Barnett was from MMA either. So I mean, when it's coming off flat on TV like Josh Matthews and even Pope, dude, at least step up and say something and sell this thing. I mean, Pope does better than Josh Matthews, but Josh Matthews is just like, it didn't matter. And the thing that makes me wonder if we're going in an angle is like somewhere between this point in the main event. I mean, Pope says that Josh Matthews might be in trouble because there's new management, which I assume he was kind of referring to the way he talked about JB. Chef, you think they're going somewhere with this?
You know what? I got no idea. I mean, like, I hope so. Like I said, I don't know. I never heard nothing good about the dude, to be completely honest. Like, if he's smart, you'll just keep him in the back. If he really is good with doing something, keep him in the back because he's not that good on commentary. Now, honestly, I don't give a fuck how he feels. I mean, whatever. I don't give a shit. And if he even wants to say something, say something. I don't give a fuck. Like, you know how many people hate on you? It's not just me. Like, that dude literally comes out and gets booed by, like, you know, just say a few hundred people just because they don't like him. And I mean, there are people that have been going to TNA for fucking 12 years that have been there. I'm only there too. And they're like, man, fuck this guy. And I'm like, okay, like, they hated this guy for, you know, for as long as he's been there. So it's not just me. Like, this guy he just comes off like an arrogant dick. And to be completely honest, like I keep trying to say, if he feels like, well, hey, I'm verified because it's one of the things he likes to throw out there that he's verified on Twitter. Well, nobody gives a fuck. You know what I mean? Like, if you validate your life about being fucking, verified on Twitter, then you're a fucking idiot. Like, grow the fuck up, dude. This isn't a fucking pissing contest. No one gives a shit if you're verified or not. Fuck you. Like, do your fucking job, do it fucking well. And then you would have people like, oh, but fuck, Josh made that shit sound good. Just like people say, just like you were saying, well, Don West sells this shit. Well, that's what Don West did. And that keeps trying to tell, what has Josh did? Well, it does. Let me not just did. Let me not sound all ebonical. What has he done? He fucking flopped in fucking Tough Enough. He's a commentator that nobody gives a fuck about. So besides that and that, what else has he done? Nothing. You know what I mean? So you've done two things on TV and none of them good. And then you want to try to talk shit to fans because you sit on TV. And nobody gives a fuck because if you were somewhat decent, you'd have marks, fucking help you out. Like fucking Matt Hardy. Didn't like what I said. His marks want to take shots. Josh talks shit. Nobody gives a fuck. Like your marks aren't even fucking marks.
I agree, dude. Like, okay, if they're going through this heel commentary role, we've seen it before. It doesn't work. They tried it with Tenay and Don West, and I know some people liked it with Don West. I hated it, but dude, regardless, like it didn't really go anywhere. And they did it with Taz when he was with Aces and Eights, and that shit was just terrible. Dude, Josh Matthews, like, people don't hate you because you pulled Madison Rain. We don't know how the fuck it happened, but we don't hate you for it. We don't like you because you do come off as an arrogant smoke break. I don't like that you rocked Oregon Duck gear. I think you jinxed my team, made them suck. I don't actually really mean that, but you don't deserve to rock that. However, dude, you suck at your job. I have no idea how you have this job. You did flop on Tough Enough. You pulled it off by pulling Charlie House's hot wife, but you're terrible. He is the worst commentator there is. He's worse than Michael Cole. Michael Cole sucks so bad. He's a clone of Michael Cole. Like, apparently he got like tossed around by Brock Lesnar in WWE. So there's another thing he's done, Chef. But dude, like, you can't sell anything. You make nothing sound important. And it's funny because like I used to get on the dirt sheets. I used to go to sites and like, I don't do that anymore. I spent a lot of years doing it. Just I don't care anymore. However, just the other day, after we get off the show, I was looking at the stuff with JB and the Josh Matthews thing. And I'm seeing a lot of these comments, and people are like, I stopped watching TNA because Josh Matthews just sucks. I won't watch TNA because I can't stand to listen to Josh Matthews. When Josh Matthews got fired from the WWE and he came out and took shots at him, I was like, okay, that's cool. He went too far bashing Jim Ross. And look, my respect for Jim Ross is nowhere near what it used to be because I think Jim Ross has had no backbone and he's cowered down and pussied out to the WWE when he should be standing up and trying to help TNA or someone like ROH come on and, take that next level because WWE has treated Jim Ross like shit, but he just kissed their ass. So, like, I wasn't that upset, but, I mean, Josh Matthews took it too far. He does come off as arrogant and prick. And, like, dude, you're just not good. Like, for him to say he's in Gordon Soley's level, dude, like, no. You're nowhere near that. You're nowhere near Gorilla Monsoon. You're nowhere near Jim Ross. You're nowhere near Kevin Kelly. Do you know how sad that is? Like you're not Tony Schiavone. And I know people want to shit on Tony Schiavone. No, dude, you aren't even fucking sniffing Joey Styles' hands. Like, I don't even know why I said hands, but he's not even sniffing that or his butthole. Like, Josh Matthews, you suck. You don't deserve your job. You probably don't deserve your woman. But, oh my God, man, he sucks. And if they're going to put him in an angle, who cares? He's not going to get that over because he can't get anything else over because he has no enthusiasm. He's monotone as fuck. He makes Raven Effect seem like goddamn Don West.
It's going insane.
Chef, I know you were big on Eddie versus Davey. Because yes. I know you said you liked the way that it came off with just the I'm going to fuck you up kind of shit. So, main event, go ahead and take it.
Oh, man, I love this shit. And it's funny because I'm catching some kind of heat on Twitter because I'm like, oh, man, I'm loving this Eddie Davey shit. And they're like, oh, but you hated the fucking Eddie Champ shit, but it's not even that, whatever. Here you got fucking Davey Richards just fucking coming off like a straight up animal. Angelina Love is like this fucking Iron Mike Tyson. If she punches you, forearms you, you get knocked out. I mean, they're just taking a real aggressive approach. But now you got Eddie Edwards really aggressive himself. You know what I mean? Like, he's not taking no shit. He's like, fuck it, let's just fight. Fuck the cut in the promo. Let's just thug it out. You know, these two men are putting in work. I'm not an ROH guy, so I didn't watch because I always have people, oh, you didn't watch their feud in ROH? No, fuck, I don't watch the shit. But man, I'm loving this. I mean, these two motherfuckers is going in. I mean, you literally had fucking I think David Richards flew into the crowd. You know, these motherfuckers is going in. They're selling this shit. To me right now, this is the best story that they got going forward. I'm just loving this shit. I hope this lasts. I hope this lasts for at least through most of the next March tapings. I want to see some real shit. I want to see like a street fight. I want to see it fucking kind of like the Decay and the Hardys were kind of like, you know, sprawled out into the fucking Universal Studios. I want to see some really fucking foul street shit. I want to see more weapons. I mean, these guys are they're animals, and I'm loving this shit. I'm eating all of it up. Let's go, Eddie Edwards and Davey Richards.
Yeah, I kind of think like this saved the show because I'll be honest, I wasn't really digging the show that much, but this was definitely the bright spot for it, and it's nice to see them get the main event. So like I'm not entirely huge on splitting the Wolves up because look, we have no tag teams. I'd like to see them stay together as a tag team, unified, but yet still do their own separate thing and go back to the tag team. But look, the bottom line is we know this is Davey's last year as a pro wrestler, so if there's going to be a time to do it, which eventually it would have had to be done from the looks of it. You know, this is the year. I kind of feel like they had done this match too many times, just in a friendly way between all the one night only, a couple times on Impact. You know, they kind of went 50-50. I mean, I've seen some where Eddie wins, seen some where Davey wins. You know, I've seen some of their matches in ROH. You know, but it's still, this one, it just had a different vibe and feel to it with the street fight. One thing I do want to say, props to Eddie Edwards, because dude, his woman is a good looking girl. Real hot. The thing, dude, I love the fact that they called Davey Richards the American Wolf. I wish they would have kept the American Wolves moniker instead of just the Wolves. I think the American Wolves sounded better the whole time. You know, it was brutal. It was rough. You know, they switched back and forth. You know, and then Davey and Angelina, they got real heelish. They got real vicious. You know, they cuffed Alexis, or whatever they're calling her in TNA. They cuffed her to that rope. And then the concerto and all that, you know, Davey comes out stronger on top. That's what I like to see. I wish he would have got the official 3 count other than Angelina doing it. But I guess, like, I love Eddie, okay? I do. And do people want to bounce on Chef? Chef's never, like, actually hated on Eddie Edwards as a wrestler, as a person. He didn't like the way his title reign was booked. So people shitting on Chef for that, just drop it. I'm a much bigger Davey guy than Eddie guy, and I'm a big Eddie guy. But, dude, I love Davey. I want to see Davey come out on top. I think in the end, you know, we'll probably see a loser has to leave TNA, and we'll see Eddie maybe, you know, after the feud takes a break for a while, it'll heat back up, and towards December we'll see Eddie pin Davey, you know, for the final match, and Davey will leave TNA. But man, this was good. It was definitely the highlight of the night. And yeah, I'm with Chef. I want to see more of it. Obviously, I think it's far from being over with. We'll probably see, you know, intergender tag team matches with Eddie and Alexis against Davey and Angelina. Probably some solo knockout matches. Of course, you know, there's going to be a big blowout between Davey and Eddie at some point, likely with the face going over. But this definitely was a highlight of the night, and I'm excited to see where it goes from now. Chef, anything else you wanted to add here on this one?
Yeah, I didn't know if I was getting the wrong week, but didn't Angelina Love kick Earl Hebner in the nuts?
She did. I missed it, but it'd be awesome if she did do it.
I don't know if it was last week or this week, because I remember, like, I was literally at work, and one of my guys was like, yo, because, you know, he's trained to be a wrestler now, so I was showing him, I was like, yo, watch this shit that Angelina Love did. And he was like, man, why the fuck she kick Earl for? And I'm like, yo, like, it was so fucked up that she literally, like, kicked him in the nuts. It was so messed up.
Dude, I don't know how Earl Hebner comes out and takes some of the shots he does at his age, but like he's
How you
younger
doing,
than I
officer?
thought. But like,
Pretty good in yourself, Robert.
Yeah, not the guy on this.
Nah.
You haven't seen any black male wearing a black hoodie and blue jeans running around by chance?
Nah, I haven't seen anybody. I know there was like a little argument or something, but I ain't seen nobody out here.
Appreciate it, brother.
All right, man. So you were saying?
that's how we do things on the. That is how we do things on the Heelcast. Can we end the show any better than that?
I mean, how can you now?
Oh my god, I can't believe it starts from the start of the show and then at the very, very end, that's when it finally hit. That was the police, correct?
Yes, sir.
I don't know that we could end the show any better than that. But Chef, you got any final thoughts?
No, I think everything is good. I mean, listen, we kind of joked about one of the few podcasts never across the street. Now, something crazy happens, and now they're walking around. There's like 8 of them with flashlights. And this is like the one day I get home. Like literally, I've been so busy at work, I haven't even been home. I come home, I shoot a podcast. All of a sudden, all this craziness. I'm like, damn. Greatest podcast event ever.
If we couldn't do dick jokes, we gotta have the Mafia get questioned here on the show regardless. So I got nothing to say. Check out Impact is coming Thursday. TNA Heelcast out. Raven Effect. Chef. TNA Mafia. Have a good week, everyone. Dude, I can't even believe that. I opened the door to let my dogs in. I hear you talking to me. Like, oh shit, dude. The cops are just now getting around to asking him about that altercation. Oh, that was awesome.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, like I said, I'm literally the only person sitting out here, and they're just walking around like if someone got shot or something. And I'm like, wow, like there's like 8 of you guys really looking around.
That was just the best, dude.
Yo, that guy's like, I'm gonna say Robbie E. Big.
Really? The cop was,
Yeah.
or?
Yeah, the cop dude. He was like Robbie E. Big, and I'm thinking, man, if they catch this guy, I'd be like, yo, dude, don't tackle me.
Right.
Leave me alone. Let me go on the floor.
That's so awesome.